Choosing the best Ryzen motherboard 2025, it's tricky. Welcome back to PC Builder, I'm Jason. Now whether you're building a budget gaming PC with the Ryzen 7600X or the ultimate gaming PC with the Ryzen 9800X 3D, getting the best Ryzen motherboard, it's confusing. There's so many different motherboard models, pricing, it's all over the place, and it's hard to know what features you actually need. So we're gonna break it all down and make specific product recommendations for the best Ryzen motherboard 2025 Ryzen 5000, 7000, and 9000 series CPUs. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. Now, the most confusing part of buying the best Ryzen motherboard 2025, it's understanding the different chipsets from B650, X870, X870E to B550, B850, A520, the list goes on. Now, here's the cheat code to getting the right Ryzen motherboard. Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs require an AM5 socket motherboard with the pins on the motherboard, which are the 600 or 800 series. The best gaming focused motherboards are the B650, B650E, and B850 motherboards, which generally have between 2 and 3 M.2 SSD slots and offer an array of rear panel USB and network connectivity. The only real difference between these three chipsets is that B650 motherboards, they mostly have PCIe Gen 4 GPU slots, while all the B650E and almost every B850 motherboard uses PCIe Gen 5 GPU slots. Now, PCIe is backwards compatible, so a PCIe Gen 5 GPU will work just fine on a PCIe Gen 4 motherboard, and even an RTX 5090 runs fine at PCIe Gen 4 speed. But there's no price difference to get a PCIe Gen 5 motherboard, so you might as well get this feature for free. And AMD is retiring the B650 motherboards. Motherboard makers will still continue to support them with updates, so you'll be fine if you buy one on sale, but they'll likely be going out of stock in the near future. For creators or gamers who want an ultra premium motherboard that goes beyond gaming features, we have the X870 and X870E, along with a couple of remaining X670E motherboards. Now, the primary difference between these motherboards and the previous ones I mentioned are that the X boards, they typically have 4 M.2 SSD slots, and they offer extra connectivity in the form of additional USB ports, faster USB ports, generally faster wired networking, and more premium looks and build quality. The X870 and X870E motherboards, they also offer some niche features like USB 4. There are some cheaper cut-down X870 motherboards that are just not as good as some of the premium B850 motherboards, so make sure you know what you're getting and why. Let's talk about motherboard chipsets to avoid, specifically the A620 and B840 motherboard chipsets. They're cut-down motherboards with PCIe Gen 4 GPU slots. They don't support Precision Boost Overdrive, which we really want to turn on to increase performance. They usually aren't much cheaper than budget B850 motherboards anyway, but for mini ITX, sometimes they do make sense because those boards can get quite expensive. For budget builds using a Ryzen 5000 series CPU, you want a 500 series motherboard which uses the older AM4 socket with the pins on the CPU. Now, I recommend B550 motherboards here, as X570 is just impossible to find brand new, and A520 and B450, they're limited to PCIe Gen 3, which creates issues with a lot of budget graphics cards. One critical motherboard feature available on virtually every AM5, but not every AM4 motherboard, is BIOS Flashback. Now, Gigabyte calls this QFlash Plus. This allows you to update the motherboard BIOS without a compatible CPU installed. You'll need BIOS Flashback if your motherboard doesn't come with an updated BIOS that supports your CPU. And mostly this pertains to older AM5 motherboards with newer Ryzen 9000 series CPUs, but in 2025, this isn't as much of an issue because we haven't seen a lot of new CPUs launched this year. Using BIOS Flashback is super easy to do, and we cover this step by step in our How to Build a PC guide, linked down in the video description. Let's run through the basics on motherboards if you're new or you haven't bought one in a while. Now, motherboards, they come in 4 sizes. ATX is the full-size motherboard, Micro ATX is a 2/3 size motherboard. Those two are the most popular for regular PC builds. E-ATX motherboards, they're the same height as ATX, they're just a little bit wider. They still fit in most ATX size PC cases. Mini ITX, that's the small size. They're used in very small form factor PC builds. And we do have a separate Mini ITX PC build guide video for those, linked down in the video description under the How to Build a PC playlist. Some of the most important motherboard features include the number of M.2 NVMe SSD slots and their speed. Now, older B550 motherboards, they're gonna have 2 M.2 slots. One runs at PCIe Gen 4 speed, one will run at PCIe Gen 3 speed. B650, B650E, and B850 motherboards, they're going to have between 2 and 4 NVMe SSD slots, including that most will support at least one PCIe Gen 5 SSD. Now remember, I don't recommend PCIe Gen 5 SSD drives for gamers or most creators. The additional speed doesn't help gaming or most creator tasks, and they are way more expensive compared to PCIe Gen 4 SSDs. Check out our best SSD for gaming video for more on that. X870 and X670 motherboards will generally have 4 and sometimes up to 5 M.2 NVMe SSD slots. Occasionally an AM5 motherboard with 3 or more M.2 drives will have one of the M.2 slots run at only half bandwidth at PCIe Gen 4. This is usually shown as PCIe 4x2 instead of the regular 4x4. To best utilize that M.2 slot, you're going to want to buy a PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD slot, and it's going to effectively run at PCIe Gen 3 bandwidth. Still quite fast, and it's fine for an extra storage drive. Rear panel USB connectivity is a big separation point for budget versus mid-range versus premium and creator motherboards. Now, both the total number of ports and the speed of the ports themselves. The square USB-A connections, they're usually color-coded by speed, with the black ones being USB 2.0 speed. It's good for stuff like mice and keyboards. USB 3.2 Gen 1 speed, typically colored blue. USB 3.2 Gen 2 connections often colored red. Then there's also USB Type-C connections, which are smaller but faster connections. Most X870 motherboards also come with at least one USB Type-C port running at USB 4 speed, which is mostly useless for desktop PCs, at least right now, so don't spend extra money just to get USB 4. For network connectivity, your motherboard's going to come with wired Ethernet. Now, older boards are generally 1 gigabit connections, while most of the newer 600 and 800 series boards come with at least 2.5 gigabit speed. Many now come with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth either built in or added in using an M.2 Wi-Fi key. The fastest Wi-Fi speeds right now, it's Wi-Fi 7 on the latest B850 and X870 motherboards. You can always buy a USB M.2 or PCIe add-in card to get Wi-Fi or Bluetooth later. Motherboard audio, it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your motherboard. It's made up of capacitors, shielding, and a Realtek audio codec chip. You're going to use this audio anytime you plug in an analog device with a pole connector that looks like this, either into the rear panel audio connectors or the ones on the front panel of your PC case. If you're plugging in a sound device with a digital connection like HDMI or USB, then you're going to bypass the onboard motherboard audio processing and instead use a secondary device for digital to analog conversion. Budget audio codecs can sound fine. They're typically in the 800 series such as ALC 897. More premium audio codecs have better overall signal to noise ratios and additional audio signal boost for front panel headphones like the ALC 1200. The best audio codecs are the ALC 1220 or the newer, but similar ALC 4080, both of which offer additional encoding and decoding support, as well as support for high impedance headphones when using the front PC case audio plugs. Let's briefly talk about VRMs. That's the power delivery in a half square around the CPU. It used to be a bigger issue, but for gamers looking to use either a Ryzen 5 or 7 CPU, virtually any Ryzen motherboard is going to have good enough VRMs. If you're buying a Ryzen 9950X or 9950X3D, you'll want to get a motherboard with a strong VRM that won't potentially overheat during heavy all-core workloads, which we'll go over in the creator/ultra premium recommendations. Let's jump into our product recommendations for best Ryzen motherboard 2025, which are all linked down in the video description, so check those out for current pricing and availability in your region. We're going to continue to keep this list updated, including adding new motherboards and deleting ones that go out of stock. I've also linked our How to Build a PC playlist, which has videos on every PC component from coolers to PSUs to CPU and GPU combos. And we have our PC build list playlist with individual build guides for many popular Ryzen CPUs. One issue to be aware of is that users reported higher than normal failure rates for Ryzen 9000 series X3D CPUs like the 9800X3D on ASRock motherboards. ASRock released a number of BIOS updates to address the issue, but it did seem to stick around. I reached out to ASRock for more on this issue, and they claim that BIOS 3.40, released on August 29th, does solve the issue, and they recommended all users update to this version or later. Their public statement is linked down in the video description. Only time will tell if this fix is final. I've continued to recommend their motherboards for CPUs that are not Ryzen 9000 series X3D ones, and I'm cautiously optimistic about this fix for the Ryzen 9000 series X3D CPUs. But if this concerns you, feel free to buy from another motherboard maker instead. Let's jump to the best budget motherboard for Ryzen 5000 series CPUs. So these are AM4 motherboards. There'll be a link down in the video description. This can be super fast because unfortunately the X3D Ryzen 5000 series CPU is completely gone off the market at the time of filming. Maybe they will come back. Basically dries up any upgrade path. So you're really not worried about that anymore. We're really just looking for super budget builds. We want to get B550 to get PCIe Gen 4 because that's going to help us with a lot of budget graphics cards that are only by 8 on the PCI connector out there. You're just basically looking for cheap. I like the ASUS Prime B550 M.2 Wi-Fi 2 right now, $79. It's on sale, but these boards kind of rotate in terms of what goes on sale, so check those links in the video description. The only downside to this particular board, it does come with Wi-Fi, which is super nice, is that the main PCIe slot is not reinforced. It's just plastic there. There's no metal reinforcement, so just be careful if you're using a much bigger, kind of beefier graphic card. Gigabyte B550M DS3H AC, another good board. There's also the ASUS Elite version of this board, which it looks cooler, and it also does have a metal reinforcement, so you can check that out as well. All these come with two M.2 slots on them. Pretty decent boards for about $79 to $90. Finally, here's the board that I often recommend, and I've recommended since Ryzen 5000 came out. This is the ASRock B550M Pro 4. I like this board, a couple of reasons to spend a little bit more money. If you don't need the Wi-Fi, because it doesn't come with it, slightly better VRMs. It also has pretty good rear panel USB connectivity, 6 high-speed USB ports, 2 USB 2.0 ports. That's better than a lot of AM5 budget motherboards out there. And it comes with upgraded ALC 1220 audio, as well as a heat shield for the M.2 and a metal reinforced GPU slot. So 2 thumbs up. Let's jump into the best cheap B850 motherboard for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs, particularly the Ryzen 5 CPUs. So this is like the best motherboard for the Ryzen 7600X, 9600X, 7500F, those kinds of CPUs out there. And that is the ASRock B850 M-X. And this is revision 2. They've gotten rid of the first revision, which had a PCIe Gen 4 GPU slot. They upgraded the GPU slot to PCIe Gen 5, and they reintroduced the motherboard out there. Just be aware that you want the revision 2 one. They're not selling the other one, but you might still find some in stock. It's a decent motherboard, but not phenomenal. The VRMs are mediocre, but good enough for a Ryzen 5 or eventually a 7800X 3D, 9800X 3D. And it's got decent, but not phenomenal rear panel USB connectivity with 4 high-speed USB ports, 2 USB 2.0 ports. It is a little tight for some folks out there. And then it's got 2 M.2s. I like the black styling on it, by the way. Don't be off-put by the only has 2 DIMM slots. I did get that criticism. Look, you can't run more than 2 DIMMs on most Ryzen motherboards right now for DDR5. That's a DDR5 issue. So the fact that it has 2 DIMMs and only 2 DIMMs actually improves memory compatibility a little bit, but it's really, really basic audio and other things like that. But if you just need a cheap B850 motherboard for your Ryzen 7500F or 7600X or 9600X, this is the one I would pick up for about $120. Let's jump to the best budget B850 motherboard for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs. So this is like the best budget motherboard for the Ryzen 7500F, the 9600X, 7600X. You can, of course, put Ryzen 7 CPUs, possibly even a Ryzen 9 CPU on this. If you're getting a Ryzen 9 CPU, spend a little bit more though. But let's talk about these motherboards. You're going to spend about $140 up to $160. We're going to start off with micro ATX. We will go over some ATX sized motherboards. Some of them actually have slightly better feature on the pricing right now, so check those out before you just go ahead and buy something. Let's start off with the board that I #1 recommend, the ASRock B850M Pro-A Wi-Fi 6E. The reason I like this board, if you are a more storage-focused user, has 3 full bandwidth M.2s. That's the most you're going to find on any micro ATX motherboard out there. Some of them that do have 3 M.2s, the third one is half bandwidth. So this is all full bandwidth. 2 thumbs up there. The VRMs are adequate. Even up to like a Ryzen 9900X would probably be just fine on this motherboard. It has 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, 4 lower-speed USB 2.0 ports as well. That's pretty much ubiquitous through all the boards I'm going to share with you here. And it's got nice black styling to it. One of the M.2s does have a nice little heat shield over it. The others do not. But overall, it's a pretty amazing motherboard for $140 with Wi-Fi 6 on it. If you're looking for a board that has Wi-Fi 7 on it and upgraded rear panel Ethernet connection up to 5 gigabits per second, that's the MSI Pro B850M-P Wi-Fi. That's kind of the claim to fame of this motherboard, $154. There's also the B850M-A, which I suspect eventually will come down to this price point. Right now it is silly priced, but this is a pretty good motherboard. Wi-Fi 7 on it, like I said, and on the rear panel you can see it's got 5 gigabit Ethernet on it as well. similar in terms of the rear panel USB connectivity for high-speed ports, including a Type-C, and then 4 lower speed USB 2.0 ports to it. And it does have a heat spreader over the top M.2, which is really nice for $154. Gigabyte has 3 different boards that are basically all the same board, so I'm just gonna go through them really quickly for you if you want an alternative. The Gigabyte B850M Eagle Wi-Fi 6, it looks a little bit more gamery than the other boards, so maybe that's a stylistic difference if you're looking for that. And it's $149, which is a pretty good price point for it. And again, for higher speed USB ports, including a Type-C, for lower speed USB 2.0 ports. And like all these boards, it's got basic audio on it. And it has one of the M.2s. It only has 2 M.2s like the MSI board does, with a heat spreader on the top here, which, you know, is pretty nice. It does come with a built-in rear I/O shield. I do appreciate that. I like the quick connect on the Wi-Fi modules as well. Otherwise, it's kind of a basic board. The VRMs are not phenomenal, but again, they're good enough for like a Ryzen 7 CPU if you want to go that route, or if that's your future upgraded path as well. Of course, there's an ICE version of it. It's just all white. Gigabyte does this really well. We'll have all white boards later in the video. We'll talk more about this particular board. And then there is the Gigabyte B850M Gaming X version. Don't get the gaming one that doesn't have the X on it. That's kind of a garbage board, and I think they're retiring it. This is the one you would want to get. The VRM's slightly better on this board. It's got, I think, better styling too. I think it actually looks pretty sick, to be honest. And then it's got really nice VRM heat sinks on it. Otherwise, it's pretty much a clone of that Eagle board. Let's jump into the best B850 motherboard for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs in the mid-range. So these are the best mid-range Ryzen motherboards out there right now. You're looking to spend 140 is a little on the low end, but you're looking to spend 140, but more like $180 on these boards. I would check the more premium boards linked down in the video description along with these. However, sometimes those premium boards go on sale and they're actually a little bit better buy. We're looking for 3 to 4 M.2 NVMe SSDs here. You're looking for good VRMs that you can put any Ryzen CPU on, including like a 9950X higher core count one. And we're also looking for expanded USB connectivity on the rear panel. Let's jump in to what I think is the absolute insane value if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you're a storage person, because this has 4 M.2s on them. One of them is only PCIe Gen 3, but that would be fine for a 4th M.2. That's the ASRock B850 Pro-A for $139. This board has been on sale forever at $139. By the way, it's not just a temporary thing. This, again, 4 M.2s on it is his real claim to fame. The VRMs are really, really good on this board too, by the way. And I do really like the rear panel USB connectivity to it. It has 6 high-speed USB ports, including 2 Type-Cs, and then 6 USB 2.0 ports as well. Just tons and tons of connectivity for days on it. Listen, it loses some kind of nice to haves, which is like the rear I/O shield. You could probably give that up for a $140 motherboard here. There's a Wi-Fi version of this motherboard. I don't know why it sells for so much more. $179 is typically what it goes for. Got nice black styling on it. Honestly, I think it's one of the best values out there if you're a storage person. Another great pick, Gigabyte B850 Gaming X Wi-Fi 6E. Just note there is a gaming non-X version that is kind of a trashy board and had some issues. I think they're discontinuing it. You want the Gaming X one here like this. Now, this board actually got down to $160 during Amazon Prime Day in July. I'm hoping that that's where this price is going to start to filter down, especially in the fall for 2025. I like this board for a couple reasons. 3 M.2s. I also just really like the styling of this board. I think some people think it looks a little busy. I actually kind of like it. It looks really, I think it looks exciting. Pretty good rear panel USB connectivity. Has 6 high-speed USB ports, 1 Type-C, and then it's got 2 USB 2.0 ports. So not as much as the ASRock board there, but it also does come with a built-in rear I/O shield. And I do like the quick connect Wi-Fi antennas for these. These are all going to be Wi-Fi 6, by the way, Wi-Fi 6E on these. Overall, the board looks great. I think good styling. $179 is typical price. From ASUS, we've got the ASUS B650E Max Gaming Wi-Fi. Remember, B650E is actually slightly better than B850 because it guarantees the GPU slot is PCIe Gen 5. You don't have to check the specs on it, and there's no other differences between the chipsets, to be quite honest. So this is a good motherboard. I don't like the price. It had gotten down to $149. That's where I think it belongs. I don't know why the prices come up. There's a black and a white version of it, by the way. You know, why do I think this board is basically not quite the equal of the other boards I showed you? Well, it has 3 M.2s on it. However, one of them is half bandwidth. It only has a heat shield on one of them. And then on top of that, the rear panel USB connectivity, it's basically the same as the Gigabyte board. It has 6 high-speed USB ports, 1 Type-C, and then two USB 2.0 ports on it. I do like it's got the built-in rear I/O shield, and it's got the quick connect Wi-Fi antennas, which is nice on it. If this gets back to $149, I think it's a good board to go ahead and buy. $169 is a little steep here. Let's move over to the premium AM5 motherboards for Ryzen 7000, 9000 series CPUs. So this is like the best B850 motherboard for gaming in 2025. Now, what do I mean by premium motherboards here? We're looking to spend $179 up to maybe $225 on these. They're going to have upgraded audio on them. They're going to have at least 3 M.2s with full bandwidth on them. They're also going to have heat spreaders over the vast majority of their M.2s. We want built-in heat sinks. We want expanded rear I/O as well. And we also want the motherboards to look absolutely amazing. Let's start off with a motherboard that I absolutely love. Now, earlier this year, I was calling the ASUS TUF B650-Plus, not the B650, the older version, as the best value gaming motherboard for Ryzen that had the gaming features on it. Well, they've replaced that motherboard effectively. Not yet. You can still get that board out there, but for like $10 more, you can get this board, B650E. It's basically a similar board, but they've upgraded not only to a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot, 2 thumbs up there, but they've also upgraded the styling on the motherboard, and they've upgraded some of the other features as well. Let's punch through it. First of all, you're going to get 3 M.2s, all full bandwidth, and all of them have heat spreaders. You can see 2 on the bottom here, 1 here. You get a nice reinforced GPU slot to it with the easy release. That's another great thing you're going to get with some of these upgraded motherboards is some of the easy build features with them. And it's got ALC 1220 audio on it instead of ALC 1200 audio on it, which I really appreciate because that adds support for high impedance headphones for you video editors out there. This is a pretty good motherboard to use as well. In terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, not phenomenal, but good enough. It's got 4 high-speed USB ports, and it has 6 USB 2.0 ports, so that's a lot of connectivity for devices out there. Wi-Fi 6E with a quick connect and the built-in rear I/O shield. With all the full audio outputs, by the way, I really do like that as well. This board for $179, to me, this is the best value gaming motherboard. Remember, of course, there's no difference between B650E and B850, especially at this price point here. So to me, this is one of the best gaming motherboards you can buy right now. If you do want to spend a little bit more money, you could go all the way up to the ASUS TUF B850-Plus for about $40 to $50 more. The prices do fluctuate quite a bit, especially at the higher end up here. Sometimes this board goes on sale for $199 and sometimes it's $230. It seems to just kind of seesaw out there. What's the difference between this board and the one I just showed you, Jason? They look almost identical. They kind of are almost identical. So let's go over the features. Number one, you're going to get Wi-Fi 7 with this board instead of Wi-Fi 6E. So if that's a feature that you're super excited about, it might be worth it just for that to spend the money. The other thing is these USB 2.0 ports on the other board now get upgraded to USB, I think it's 3.1, basically a 5 gigabit per second USB port. So it's faster USB as well. Other than that, that's really the only major difference between the two boards. Honestly, they're both really, really great. If you want to spend a little extra money for slightly better features, go ahead. Now here's a board I absolutely love. Absolutely love this board because the price is really phenomenal and it has tons of rear panel USB connectivity, relatively high speed. Now it has 3 M.2s on. I also do like the looks on this board. It's great, kind of silver. In a world of everything's either black or white, I really like the silver striking look to this one. If this is your aesthetic, I would go for this one. Comes with a Wi-Fi 7 as well on it, which is super nice for $189. That's really tough to beat. 3 M.2s, like I said, all of them with heat spreaders on them. And then in terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, tons and tons of connectivity. It actually has 6 high-speed USB ports, and then it has 8 USB 2.0 ports. I feel like I'm losing my mind. That's just so much connectivity. 2.5 gigabit LAN. Again, if you want to put a 9800X3 on this, check out what we said about ASRock motherboards and the 9000 X3D CPUs out there. I do think with the new BIOS, I probably feel just fine with it. $189, this is where ASRock motherboards really do get good price to performance. Finally, we have an MSI motherboard. I don't know what's going on at the time of filming with MSI motherboards. They are completely absent from the mid-range. You probably noticed that in the last section, but we do have the MSI Mag B850 Tomahawk, which is a board I do like quite a bit. It has upgraded audio on it. It has 3 full bandwidth M.2s on it, all of them with individual heat spreaders, which I super like. Some of you I know don't like the big plates out there. I'm fine with those, but if you like the individual heat spreaders, this one has them. In terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, I believe that's where this board really shines if you want additional USB-C connections, because it has 3 USB-Cs on it, which is crazy until you get up to X870. This is one of the few boards that has that. It also has 3 other high-speed USB ports in addition to those Type-Cs, and then has 4 more USB 2.0 ports, and it has Wi-Fi 7. The price on this board has fluctuated a lot. It's seesaws all over the place. List price $275. Don't buy it for $275. Buy it for around $200 up to $220. That's probably what it's worth. Let's jump into the best X870 motherboard and best X870E motherboard for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs. So what this is either ultra premium gaming motherboards out there or they're creator motherboards. There are a lot of X870 motherboards I don't recommend, especially the more cut down ones. I don't even know why they exist. They're not even as good as some of the B850 premium boards out there. So here's my criteria. Number 1, has to have 4 M.2s. They all have to be at least full bandwidth, and they have to have heat spreaders over all the M.2s. We also need an upgrade of USB connectivity over the B850 motherboards. Otherwise, what are we even doing here? And they all have to have upgraded audio on them as well. I also wanted to say that they all had to have a postcode, but that's actually tough to find. I was a little disappointed. But let's jump into it. Let's start off with the ASRock X870. So I'm going to look at X870 and X870E for each of the motherboard vendors. I'm just going to pick what I think are my favorite ones, or the ones I would buy. I like the ASRock X870 Live Mixer, despite some shortcomings, one of the shortcomings being no postcode readout. But it's $229, so I can kind of overlook that because it is one of the cheapest X870s out there that meets all those criteria. Overall, 4 M.2s. I like that they've kind of split up the main block into, it's a couple different blocks there. You don't have to take off the one plate. I know some people don't like that. In terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, really builds on the Live Mixer and adds a third USB Type-C port to it. So we got 3 USB-Cs on it. Overall, it's a pretty good board, especially if you want to spend like, what is it, another $40 or so over the B850 Live Mixer to get an upgrade. I think ASRock's best X870E board is the Tai Chi Lite. The Nova is very similar if you want a more gamery style motherboard. I like this one. I like the more industrial look to it. It's one of the most popular boards out there. Unfortunately, as a result, the price has gone up a little bit on it, but still a very, very good motherboard. It has 4 M.2s on it. Again, they are all underneath their own heat spreaders, which I do like on it. It has the postcode readout in the upper right-hand corner, 2 thumbs up there. The Nova does as well if you want a more gamery looking motherboard with the same feature set. In terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, I kind of like the Live Mixer a little bit better, but I really like USB-C ports. If you're more like Jason, I want more Type A ports, this might be the one for you, or if you don't need 3 USB-Cs, this is definitely tons and tons of connectivity. Let's jump over to MSI. I like the Tomahawk X870 Wi-Fi with some caveats here. It's claim to fame basically, yes, 4 M.2s. They're all under individual heat spreaders, and it does add the postcode readout. $283 to MSI. This is a little expensive. I'd like to see this board come down, but the rear panel USB connectivity looks good. Adds a couple of additional, I should say, high-speed USB ports over the B850 motherboard version. So that is nice. And we are getting a little bit more. It is kind of a steep price to pay, I think, for just adding that extra M.2 and that. But again, if the price comes down on this one, I would definitely look to pick it up. I think MSI's best X870 motherboard is the X870E Edge TI Wi-Fi. Not only is it a nice all-white board, but it's got the postcode readout on it, which I absolutely like. It's $299, and it adds additional connectivity over both the Tomahawk B850 and the X870 Tomahawk there. Those USB ports basically get a speed increase to them. No real increase in the number of ports, but a speed increase. Super nice. They're all red, basically. They're all USB 3.2 Gen 2. And then we have 4 additional USB 2.0 ports. And then we've got the 3 Type-Cs on them, 2 of which run at USB 4 speed, 40 gigabits a second. Overall, really nice board. I like the styling to it. $299 is not a bad price. From Gigabyte, the Gigabyte X870 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7, good board, $269, not terrible pricing on it. Upgraded audio on it. I don't know why they don't include that on their B850 motherboards anymore, but they do on their X870 and X870E motherboards. Takes a different approach here with the M.2, so we do have that single plate. It's got the easy Wi-Fi latch, which I do really like. Makes building so much easier with some of these features, and it also has the easy release latch to it. It's a button over there that you press. If you somebody who switches your GPU more than once, maybe that's a great feature for you. We've got the postcode readout in the upper right-hand corner. Again, $269. I don't mind the rear panel USB connectivity, but it's also not my favorite. We basically got 2 USB 4 ports, so that's going to be 40 gigabits per second. Then we've got a number of higher speed USB ports, and then we've got USB 2.0 ports. Honestly, if you're not like a super high-end creator that needs a lot of video inputs, then this is probably complete overkill for what you're doing. $269, I think pretty good price to performance. I'm just gonna mention the X870E Aorus Pro. For some reason, the X870E Aorus Elite, which is a lower end motherboard, is more expensive. I don't know what's going on there. The only difference here is honestly a little bit more USB connectivity and aesthetics. I don't think it really justifies the $60 price point personally, but if you're like, Jason, I got an extra $60 to spend, and this one looks cooler because it's got the ARGB there, and it's got the cool looking logo on this, has a little bit more shielding on the audio section, a little bit more USB connectivity, $309. Let's jump over to the ASUS ROG Strix X870-A. So ASUS is challenging because their motherboards are massively overpriced once we get to X870. That's my personal opinion. They are overpriced. But the one I do like is the one that you saw sitting on the table next to me, the ASUS ROG Strix X870-A gaming Wi-Fi. Well, unfortunately, even at $300, ASUS couldn't put a, what do those postcode readouts cost? $3 to put on the boards. They couldn't find their way to put one on this board anywhere. But I will say, number one, the board looks really sick. It's got that little RGB logo here. Audio section looks absolutely amazing. The board looks amazing. 4 M.2s on it. And then in terms of rear panel USB connectivity, I think this is where this board is kind of a real win. Tons and tons of connectivity, including 3 Type-Cs on the back panel. I like the easy Wi-Fi 7. I don't know why we didn't get all the audio outputs for this, by the way. We got the cut down audio outputs. That's not going to affect everybody, and if it doesn't affect you, no big deal. The other thing is only 2.5 gigabit LAN on this thing. I would like to see 5 gig. I know that doesn't affect most people. If you just plug into the internet, it's not a big deal. You probably don't have a 2.5 gigabit connection anywhere. But if you're looking for an ASUS X870 board, I do like this one. In terms of the best X870E, unfortunately, most of the boards are well north of $400 for them. If you want to go any of the Strix boards, where it's really down to the tough gaming X870E Plus. $309. Honestly, I would stick with the Strix A board. Unless you just want, like, Jason, I don't want a whiteboard, I want a blackboard, and it has to be ASUS. This is probably the one I would pick up. Notice the different styling on this. Then you can get the X870 non-E board for like $280 and has different styling to it. This is more like the B850 motherboard out there. Everything is under individual heat spreaders. I like that it does have some of the easy building tools on it. In terms of the rear panel USB connectivity, I kind of feel like it's a different mix than we just saw from the Strix A, but personally, I like the Strix A board a little bit better, some higher speed ones. I think if I count up the total number, this maybe has one extra, but it's USB 2.0. Again, on the 2.5 gigabit LAN for a $300 plus board, seems a little expensive out there. But if this is the styling that you're looking for, maybe you pick up this one. Let's jump in the best all-white motherboard for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs. I'm going to tell you, Gigabyte absolutely runs away with this category. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking why, but you can see why. Here's an ASRock one. Go to ASUS and go to MSI. Their white motherboards also use black connectors like this for the power supply, for the DIMMs, the RAM, the SATA connectors, the GPU connector. So if you're really looking for that kind of ice all-white look, I would recommend buying a Gigabyte board. I like 3 of them. Let's start with the cheap one, the Gigabyte B850 Eagle Wi-Fi. So this is a micro ATX motherboard, and this is the ICE version. We already said this is a great budget board, so I would look to pick this one up for $149. If you're looking for an ATX size, here you go, the Gigabyte B850 Eagle Wi-Fi 7 ICE, and it has Wi-Fi 7 on it, so this is a great board to pick up. It says limited time $179. It usually sells for $179, so go ahead and pick that one up. If you're looking for something with upgraded audio and other features on it, and you want to spend more money for a higher end all-white, I like the Gigabyte X870 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 ICE. This includes the postcode at the top, and even the postcode is all white, which is pretty amazing. Honestly, this board's really sick. It's got tons of rear panel USB connectivity, upgraded audio, and all those other upgraded features. This is the one I would pick up for those more premium all-white systems. Let's jump into the best behind the motherboard connector motherboard. So yes, we still have MSI Project Zero out there. However, I think Gigabyte has definitely pulled ahead, and ASUS has a really interesting offering as well. Let's go through this. So what are these things? They basically have the connectors on the back of the motherboard. You will need a compatible case. However, most cases do come with compatibility for this now. You connect everything from the back, and you get an amazing looking PC build with looks super clean. Both the Gigabyte B850 Aorus Stealth Ice and the ASUS TUF B850-BTF are great motherboards. Both of them have upgraded audio. They both have pretty good USB connectivity. You both have either 3 or 4 M.2 NVMe SSDs. The Gigabyte board has 4. The difference is really going to come down to your personal aesthetics. I get that they're going for a more beveled kind of 3D look on the ASUS TUF Gaming one. And then on the Aorus Stealth Ice, they're just going super clean to it. My personal preference is going to be this one right here, $264. There's not really that big a price difference. MSI also has one. It has more cut down features. I don't think it's as competitive out there if you're looking to do kind of a high-end gaming build, which you're looking to do with a $270 motherboard, let's be honest, right? So I think it comes down to one of these two, and I'll leave both of them linked down in the video description. You can pick either one. Let's jump into the best mini ITX motherboards for Ryzen 7000 and 9000 series CPUs. And we're just going to go vendor by vendor. For ASRock, I like the B850i Lightning here, $189. They have an A520 board. It's only $40 difference. I would pick this one up instead. The reason it's the cheapest, probably because of some of the issues they had with X3D Ryzen 9000 series CPUs earlier this year. So good board, good price. It's got upgraded audio on it, 2 M.2s, rear panel USB connectivity, 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, 4 lower-speed USB 2.0 ports, along with Wi-Fi 7 on it and 2.5 gig LAN. If you want a non-ASRock board, you're going to pay about $100 more. Let's start with the MSI MPG B850i Edge TI Wi-Fi here. $271 right now at the time of filming. I like this motherboard. We used it in our best mini ITX build guide video. Link down in the video description. Check that out for everything you need to know about ITX builds in 2025. The only thing I didn't quite like about this board, it does have a active fan chipset here, a cooler, and you can hear it spin up, but just at startup, then it spins down, and I pretty much couldn't hear it after that. Pretty good rear panel USB connectivity, 6 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, 5 gig LAN, and Wi-Fi 7, $271. From ASUS, we've got the ROG Strix B850i Gaming Wi-Fi for $299. Now, this is a good board, 2 M.2s on it. The rear panel USB connectivity, probably the best of everybody, including that it's got 6 high-speed USB ports, but they're all very high-speed USB ports, and then 2 USB 2.0 ports. 2.5 gig LAN, I think we could have gone 5 here, but again, we are getting those higher speed USB ports, Wi-Fi 7 on it, probably the most expensive of the bunch here at $299. From Gigabyte, we've got the X870i Aorus Pro Ice. There's also the B850i, however, it's just completely sold out for Aorus right now. $284 is the white motherboard. Pretty good offering from Gigabyte here. Comes with some of the easy latch and things like that. 2 M.2s on it. If we look at the rear panel USB connectivity, pretty good. 6 high-speed USB ports, including 2 Type-Cs, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2.5 gig LAN also on this board, but Wi-Fi 7. Overall for $284. Remember, our best Ryzen Motherboard 2025 picks are all linked down in the video description. Check those out for current pricing and availability in your region. We're going to keep that list updated, including adding new motherboards or deleting ones that go out of stock. And we've got all of our resources, including our How to Build a PC playlist, has videos on virtually every PC component, from coolers to PSUs to CPU and GPU combos, and our PC build list playlist with individual build guides for many popular Ryzen CPUs. If you got value out of this video, please do give it a like. There's a lot of work to put this together, so we really do appreciate it. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. And we'll catch you on the next one.